Hello, everybody. What is up? This is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for tuning in today and listening to this new episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. I hope you're having a wonderful week and wonderful morning, evening, whenever you are listening to this. It is very early Tuesday morning over here, but I'm an early riser and like to get stuff done in the morning. So here we are. So today's podcast is going to be an interesting one. I think so, because I'm going to talk a little bit more about why it's not a bad or wrong thing to want to change your body composition. I have touched on that a little bit in a couple of episodes, but they were a while ago. So I thought I would do another one where I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it. And the reason why I want to do it is that I feel like sometimes people have this false understanding that it has to be an either or thing when it comes to your body. You either absolutely, don't ever want to change anything about it because you have to accept all the things, even if you are way overweight and don't feel great in your body and feel like you're struggling and you have aches and pains because of that, but you have to accept it and you cannot change it because otherwise you are maybe a superficial person and you don't love yourself. And it also doesn't have to look the opposite extreme, which is the hardcore gym goer, runner, like starving yourself, pushing, punishing, under eating, only all about changing the body, only making the body look a certain way. Only then this person can be happy. So it's not an either or thing, and it is possible to find that balance somewhere in between, where you can create that body with certain steps and strategies where you feel good in your physical body. You have to feel good in your physical body. I think this is really important. And it doesn't have to mean swinging into like total craziness, like I just described, or just doing too much of everything, never rest and burn yourself out. And I wanted to do this podcast for a couple of reasons. Well, first, also, in addition to this, like either or, when it comes to like not doing anything to change your body composition and then going crazy with it, the other thing is that sometimes people have this weird idea that if you want to change something about your body, it means that you are not connected to something higher, or you are not connecting to your true self. Because if you were, then you wouldn't care for changing your body, because your true self would never be so selfish and want you to change anything your physical body. And I think this is a little bit inaccurate. let's let's just say it this way, inaccurate, because it doesn't have to mean that at all. Why can't we want to change our body if something is there that we don't like, something that makes us feel uncomfortable, and then at the same time stay connected to our true self and true nature, and whatever you want to call it, right? Some people call it God, some people call it universe. I call it the true self or higher self. So these things also are not either or. You can definitely have your spiritual practice, your connection with your true self. You can understand your value as a human being, and at the same time want to make your physical body feel better so that you can feel better in this body. And one time, several months ago, I had a conversation with a woman who then later became a client, and she told me that she appreciates this approach a lot. And this was actually the reason why she wanted to work with me, because she had been through this kind of extreme, right, from one end to another, where in the past she had been very obsessed with everything about her body, doing a lot of workouts, finding all kinds of ways to starve herself or to do another diet, and just very, very extreme. And then she got sick and tired of it. She realized how disordered this was, and she's right, it absolutely was. And then she kind of went to the other end of the spectrum, where she now started taking in the resources and listening to stuff where that was totally completely opposite, hating on everybody change, or like hating to want, if somebody wants to change the body composition, it's like, this is a bad thing, you should never do this, you should accept every little thing that's going on right now, and you should never want to change anything. And she said it was like a swing, right? She was one end and then she was in the other end, and then she found me and my podcast, and she said, I really appreciate this middle ground approach, where you show that it is possible to have both, right? To have that balance, to have a healthy body composition, put in some time and effort to work towards that, and then at the same time not go crazy with it, and also not lose connection with your true self and higher self, or whatever you want to call it. So I appreciate that she shared this with me. And I actually want to add a little bit about my personal journey too. Many of you probably know this. If you have been following me for years, you already know for sure. But if you're newer, you may not know this, that I actually went through a very, very similar swing and myself too. And it started, again, from being this very obsessed person when I was running a ton and I never rested. And I was always trying to eat as little as possible, skipping meals so that I can have a bigger dinner. And I just did all kinds of crazy things. I was very, very extreme with it. And I caused myself a lot of hormonal issues with it. And as we've talked about previously in this podcast too, hormonal issues are not just like, oh, my hormones are a mess, right? Your hormonal issues likely show up because you have been doing certain things with your nutrition and training and not resting. And that's why hormones go out of whack. So this was exactly my experience. And it was absolutely obsessive. It was just too much. And I can't even think back of it like thinking, how did I not have, any lunch so that I can have bigger dinner? Like right now, I'm like, I'm gonna pass out. I don't like that. So I don't do that anymore ever. But there was a period of time when I did that. And then when I realized that, okay, this has been wrong. I have been beating myself up way too hard. I've been so strict with myself. I have to fix this, right? I had this like, oh gosh, like this moment that this has not been right. And I had known this, but I actually admitted it finally to myself. Then I started healing my body. And then I went I started eating more, I rested more, and I got so much better. I absolutely like my hormonal issues for the most part, not all of them, but a lot of them resolved. And then I got into this place where I was just eating a lot. And then I got into these circles where it was kind of the message was like, any body change is bad. Wanting to change something is not okay. It's too superficial. You're fat phobic. I even remember people, really encouraging you should really eat a lot of, like sugar and sweets and stuff because this is the way you express like intuitive eating, and this is how you do things if you truly are, okay with the shape and size that your body takes, and almost like pushing that you should be doing like eating certain way. And I don't want to say like of course the intention wasn't to make anybody unhealthy, but it was just like way too relaxed and way too much like don't ever try to change anything because this is bad for you. So this was kind of like the message. And I believed this for a little while. And I think maybe it was even good that I believed it for a little while, because coming from the old perspective that I had, it was like fresh air. It was like fun. Okay, I get to have this. I get to do this. I get to eat whatever I want. And cool. Like it's okay to have that cellulite on my belly. And it's okay that I have gone up like 3, 4 hand sizes. It's all right. And for a period of time, it was all right. And like I said, for my brain, it was really good to do something different. But then I started noticing that these messages were getting stronger and stronger and stronger, that there's something wrong. You want to change body composition. And I started thinking, well, okay, I wasn't like obese or anything. I was overweight a little bit, but I was not obese. But I was thinking, okay, so there are people out there who are feeling very uncomfortable in their bodies. They are not feeling good. They maybe have some joint pain because of these issues. They likely have some blood sugar issues. What if they end up diabetic down the line? There are heart issues correlated to bad diet and overindulging and not taking care of yourself. So how far can we really push this message that we have to be always accepting of what we have, and we should never want to change it? Actually, I want to say, yeah, we got to accept where we are right now. Just look at the fact and this is how it is. But should we also not ever want to do anything about it and just accept it? And this sounded wrong to me. Besides, I started feeling very uncomfortable in my own body too. Like I said, I wasn't obese. I've never been obese, but I was way uncomfortable. And coming from this very athletic background that I had previously, this was not good for me. It didn't feel good for me. And I started thinking, okay, I was really athletic. I don't want to go back to where I was before, when I was, for me, very small, which was like 135 pounds, which for me, and you may be totally different, for me is very, very low. Like right now, I would not ever want to be there anymore again. So I don't want to go there again. I don't want to start those obsessive behaviors again. I don't want to go crazy with running. I don't want to do any of that stuff, but I want to feel a little bit better in my physical body. And I feel like this is my right. Why isn't it? And so I started thinking about these things, and I was like, you know what? What if there is a middle ground? What if there is a way of doing it so that I can lose some body fat in order to feel better? I can put on more muscle mass, which will make me stronger. and without at the same time losing my mind and going crazy and doing diets? Is there a middle ground? And I started exploring this, and I realized that absolutely there is. And this is where macro tracking really came into my life and showed me the balance, right? For me, this is how I found the balance. For me, this is how I started learning about what healthy nutrition actually looks like. And then together with that, around the same time, I really started learning about healthy resistance training that wasn't anymore this like super depleting hardcore cardio, or, I don't know what's the same. What's the saying? I forget now, but it's just like going out like and doing stuff super intensely. I was like, I don't have to do that either. So I found that middle ground, and I started feeling better and better. And right now, I've been in this body composition for almost like 2.5 years, and it's relatively effortless, right? I don't have to do anything crazy. I changed my body composition. I feel better in my physical body. I didn't sacrifice my mental health for it. I didn't sacrifice the connection with my higher self or true self because of it. I didn't have to do any of these things. And it was possible to find that sweet spot, the gray area that is not extreme. And it is possible for all of us. Now, I also want to address the idea, like I've already mentioned, that um, that you cannot have a connection to your true self, high self, God, universe, what you want to call it, if you have a body composition change goal. And to me, this doesn't sound right at all. So here's what I do believe in. I do believe that we are energy, right? Every single one of us is energy. And I do believe that we were energy before we took this physical shape that we have right now in this 3D world. Right. And because we are energy, this is also, by the way, why law of attraction works so well. The energy that we put out there, we get back. So we are energetic beings, we're electrical beings, right? But then when we came to this world, we took a shape, right? We took a physical shape. This is what you see in the 3D. This is what you see in the mirror. This is what you feel, right? When you move your body around, this is your physical shape. And now, why is it a bad or wrong thing to take care of that physical part of you? Why is it a bad thing? So a long time, and it's not, obviously it's not, that's what I'm trying to say. And a long time ago, my good friend, Jenny, she's probably not listening, but if you are, Jenny, this is great. And maybe back then I did not understand what she meant when she said that, but now I absolutely do. And she said that, our physical bodies are the vessels for our soul. And back then I didn't understand that. And I was like, yeah, I know that, this is what she thinks, but I didn't even explore that anymore. What she means by that, it maybe probably sounded a little woo-woo for me at the time. And now I absolutely get that. It really is, it is a vehicle for a soul, like she said. And if we want this vehicle to function well so that our soul can be well, I think we have to take care of it, right? Why not? Because if you let that go, you're not going to feel so good. If you have too much overweight on your body, that physical vessel is not going to feel good. You're going to have aches and pains and inflammation, and you're not going to feel good at all. And I think that's important to understand, that it's part of who you are, right? So your physical body is part of who you are. It's not separate. It's not like, if you do this, then that means that you're not taking care of your spiritual health. So I hope that that makes sense to you. So sometimes also people tell me that I don't want to sound like vain when I talk about my goals, because of course, every time when I get on a call with somebody, whether it is like a potential new client or talking just to a friend who needs a little bit of help with the nutrition and training, sometimes I hear people say that, yeah, I really want to do this, but I don't want to sound like I'm fat phobic. I don't want to sound like I'm super vain person. And one time, one client even told me that, I really want to say that I want to feel freaking sexy again, but I cannot, because this is perceived as a bad thing, perceived as a wrong thing. And to me, why is this a wrong thing? I think there's some messaging out there right now that is kind of pushing that a little bit, right? And we don't have to pay attention to this. Pay attention to how you are feeling, right? Are you, is it going to make you feel better if you lose a little bit of body weight? Is it going to make you feel better if you put on some muscle? The answer is usually yes, unless you're, of course, very underweight and extremely thin already, then that's not going to be the case. But if you notice that, for example, which is the case with so many people, over the course of past couple of years, when everybody was forced into their homes and not let out, and they couldn't do anything and exercise, and they were also depressed, they just started eating a lot more. And now they're so uncomfortable, and now they feel bad, and it's just the body doesn't feel the same. It makes them sad. And now to hear that, it's, you're not supposed to do anything about it, because if you do, you're vain, this is bad, then I just don't agree with you or agree with this perspective. And then this one thing that this one woman told me, that I really want to feel sexy in my body. Why is this a bad thing? I want to put on some really cute underwear and I want to look hot. And this is part of, like, this is something that makes you feel good, right? If you can show up confident in your body and be like, hey, I'm gonna put on this like really cute bra or whatever, right? I'm gonna look freaking hot. This makes you feel great. This builds your confidence. And again, this is not to say that this is the only thing that builds your confidence. This is not the only thing you should rely on if you want to feel good in your body, but it can be part of your confidence. It can be part of how you show up in your life. So I hope you understand that there's nothing bad in wanting to change your body composition if it makes you feel better, and also if it helps you to probably clear up some health issues that could be happening if you let it go too far. So I hope that this message resonates with you today, and if not, that's okay too. Feel free to share. And I just, I want to say that sometimes it's a journey to come to this conclusion, and we go through different phases in our understanding of like what our body should look like, what a healthy body should feel like, what is the connection to ourselves. So this is all journey, and we all can keep exploring this. But don't ever think that it's an either or thing, that you have to choose like one or the other, or like one extreme or the other. There is a really nice middle ground when it comes to all that. You can feel good in your body, you can make healthy choices, but it doesn't mean that you have to go crazy. And also, it doesn't mean that you have to lose the connection to your true self, your higher self, and it doesn't make you like a vain, obsessed person. And yeah, one more time, I actually want to say one more thing. When I first started talking about this, I got I had some hard times with it, because, like I said, I had been in these circles where, all body change is bad, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then when I started doing macro coaching and started talking more openly about wanting to change my own body composition, I got some hard, I had some hard times there. I got some mean comments from people who thought that this is bad or wrong. And I even reached out to another coach who had actually kind of similar history. So she had like a binge eating disorder in the past, and very disordered eating, and like huge weight fluctuations. And she too had found the same balance with macros, and that really helped her out. And she also turned her business around and went from like only intuitive eating, don't ever change anything, to yeah, it's okay to change your body composition. So I remember having a long, probably like an hour long phone conversation with her, and she really encouraged me. She said, you know what, you got to do what you got to do. If this feels right for you, do that, and don't let anybody to tell you that you're not supposed to change your body composition. And you don't have to believe this. And there's going to be a short, like a transition time, where a lot of people who used to resonate with your last message, they either come along with this new message, or they just don't, and you don't have to worry about it. But yes, I remember like some people really gave me some hard time in their in their social media and groups and all that. And it was hard for a moment. It was like almost like, oh my God, am I losing people? Is this wrong? But now looking back to it, it was great, to come out and talk about things the way I feel they really are, to open up, because we all change and we all evolve. And this was personally like my path and my journey, and the way I have evolved as a coach. So a little bit about myself too. I hope it wasn't too much. I hope it was still helpful to see this perspective here, about this perspective. But like I said, I'm super curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. You can always reach out via Instagram also, and join my Fit and Fueled Facebook group. It's a great group. And like I said, it's going to be a fun challenge very soon that you do want to win. I know you want to win this. So come hang out there, bring your friends, let's hang out there together. And I really want this to be the place where you can come and ask all the questions that you have and get them all answered, and feel like, oh, this is my home, I want to be here. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I really, really appreciate you all. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.